Hey guys, Jack here, and with the World Cup semi-finals on, I'm going to be going through the two fixtures and give you my predictions and what I think they're going to do. So let's jump into it. So the first game we're going to be looking at is Argentina versus Croatia, and I'm thinking could be a potentially drab game. So I'm using FOTMob here as kind of just give a visualization of the potential teams and what I think they're going to do. Just makes it easier. So I think Croatia are going to set up like this in their 4-3-3. So what I noticed in their previous game against Brazil is that they relied heavily on Juranovic and Sosa to progress play and to nullify the wingers. So what I noticed is that Juranovic was completely shut down Vinicius Jr. And on this left hand side it could be Alvarez, but I think it could also be it could also be Martinez or even Di Maria. I don't think Messi will be out there at all, but I think it'll just be quite fluid, and they'll be looking towards Tagliafico as well to kind of overload that side, because I know Acuna is out, and I think Tagliafico is better in attacking than he is defending, similar to Acuna, but Acuna has very good physical attributes that allows him to push up and able to come back as well. I don't think the pace is going to be an issue for Argentina to deal with, but they're going to have to kind of deal with the intricate play of this midfield three, because Modric, 37 years young, he's been excellent for them, and he's been great for them, at the 2018 World Cup and this World Cup as well. Brozovic and Kovacic as well. Kovacic is really good at progressing the play, controlling tempo and distributing, and Brozovic, great screening the back line. And I think it's going to be very difficult for Argentina to break this team down. We know Messi can have a moment of magic, and that's, I think that could be the decider in this game. Di Maria is very good on the ball, but the problem is that what happened was with these players that they tend to cut in, and I think that could be an issue for Argentina. They need to attack the wings, because that worked against the Netherlands, and I know they end up losing the 2-goal lead, but that's how they got the most effectiveness. I mean, Montiel, who obviously got suspended, came from the right hand side through a brilliant pass by Messi, and their penalty came from that, playing out into the wing, cutting in, and kind of staying wide, but coming into the box, and they got the penalty from that. I think it's going to be extremely important that they continue to work the wings, because Sosa again and Juranovic are good, but they're that's kind of their pace, the areas with the most pace, because the center you're just not going to break through them. And with Croatia's attack, they don't have a key striker. They don't have, Kramaric is a good finisher, he's very good, but I think he'd work better with a target man. And Pasic, great energy, but not what you need, especially when he's been playing in that forward line. And Perisic, very good on the ball, and I think he could be important for them. My prediction is that it's going to go to extra time, but I think it's going to be Argentina win, and I feel like I'm going to guess 1-0, but I think it's going to be a very tetchy game. It could be a drab game. Part of me thinks it's going to go to penalties, and if it does, I can't look past Croatia. But part of me, especially with my prediction, I think Argentina are going to have enough. They're going to have a moment of quality. Messi is just going to sit like Dejan Lovren down and score. But I just want to point out, Livakovic has been great this World Cup, and Vardiol, he's a brilliant talent, and I can expect him to make a big move in the summer. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game goes out. So obviously we have Argentina-Croatia. Next game, Morocco versus France. So because of FOTMob having put up the predicted lineups, I did my own here. So obviously Morocco are going to be in the red, France are in the blue. So France set up in kind of a 4-3-3, but typically Rabiot and Tchouaméni would sit back a bit more, while Griezmann played as kind of a floating 8/10. I think he's been arguably one of the best players of the tournament. He seems to control, while he hasn't been, shall we say, a star, in typical terms, getting goals and assists, you've seen how effective he's been. linking play between the midfield and the attack, and he's been a great focal point for their side. Rabiot's done well here to to help Mbappe and Theo Hernandez, because the two of them are so attacking. They both push up, and he has to kind of track back as maybe an auxiliary left back. And I noticed that during the England game, and also I think their round of 16 game, I can't recall who they played, but they pushed up a lot more, and then he would drop in here. And while he was effective, he still struggled sometimes because he was the only one defending practically. And Theo Hernandez was exploited a few times, especially by Bukayo Saka against England. He was very rash, and as a result, he gave away a penalty, a stupid one at that. Tchouameni was effective, and in terms of this right hand side, it's a lot more safe because Dembele, was able to push up, do as much as he wants, while Koundé, he's assured that Koundé will just block. He's a centre back by trade, so he'll just sit back and deal with it. But he can also get forward when it calls for that. I switched out Konate for Upamecano because while Upamecano is, I think, favoured by Deschamps, I think he needs to sub him out because Upamecano was very shaky, very rash in everything he did, especially against the likes of Harry Kane and against Harry Kane and Foden. He wouldn't sit back because even when Kane dropped to take the ball and try to create something, he'd just go out and immediately try to nick the ball off him. And they had a few free kicks, like Rashford could have potentially stuck it in at the very end of the game and scored, but that didn't happen. And but you can't argue with how Lloris played that night, and the front three is deadly. I mean, Giroud can basically get on the end of anything, and that was the thing. That's how France won. They were stingy. They weren't the better side, but two great chances. Giroud stuck it. Stuck in the winner. You can't blame him. But I think it's going to be a very difficult challenge for them, and it's going to be interesting to see how Morocco set up. I think Bono could be busy again. And I think that they're going to have a few players back, for this game. I feel like it'll be a very difficult game for France. And I know a lot of the players have been injured, but it's a World Cup semi-final. They're all going to want to be involved. I know Aguero was injured, but he potentially is going to be back from missing the last game. Obviously, Romain Saiss came back because from after being subbed out, I think for 55 minutes, against Portugal. I think he'll want to be back as well. And I know Ziyech and Boufal took knocks, but I presume they're going to be back as well. And obviously Mazraoui, who's been injured as well, I presume he'll be back in the lineup as well. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. And Sofiane Amrabat has been one of the best midfielders of the tournament. Just brilliant. And I remember, I think it was the 82nd minute or something like that against Portugal. Typically when you're kind of sitting back, you're going to be absorbing pressure and then just trying to launch it as soon as you got possession back. But I remember Amrabat got the ball, should we say, around this corner here and being pressed by 3 Portuguese players. He broke out of the press, ran through, beating another couple of players, and then played a ball, I think, to Boufal or En-Nesyri, and they had a chance. I think that's going to be the key thing here, is that, and Morocco are going to need to counter, because I don't think France will be able to just give away possession. They're just not going to. Against this Morocco side, very disciplined. They've averaged about 33% possession. They're not going to get, they're not going to want the ball. So it's going to be a very interesting tactical battle. I think it's going to go to penalties, really. And my money is on France purely because of the quality that they have to win overall. But I would love to see Morocco in the final. I mean, an African nation making it to the World Cup final. We all probably imagined that to happen, but over the years we probably thought Ghana would get there, Senegal, Nigeria, Ivory Coast. You could argue that they've had very talented squads, but they never kind of pushed through, towards this, this stage of the competition. But you see the quality of this Morocco side. Ziyech, Hakimi, Bono, Aguar, Mazraoui, Boufal, and Romain Saiss. Like, good players, very good players, but you wouldn't say they're not an Mbappe, they're not a, they're not Varane, Dembele, Tchouaméni. Like, it's insane. And I'm really looking forward to this game tomorrow. It's going to be very interesting. I hope it's a great game. Tactically, I don't think it's going to be, for the neutral, it's going to be particularly good. But, if you're interested in football, if you're interested in tactics, I think this is going to be a brilliant game. And if Morocco go through, even if it's against Argentina, I kind of want to back them, because everyone loves an underdog story. And like, and even if they get knocked out here, they beat Spain, beat Portugal, and they got out of their group. And with Croatia, I'm hoping to see a surprise. Really, I want Morocco. My heart's telling me Morocco, my head's telling me France, but let's just see how it goes. So yeah, that's gonna be it for my semi-final preview and potential tactical breakdown. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll be doing a review of the matches and give you my takes on them. So thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take care.